Is blindness a barrier? No.
Is deafness a barrier? No.
Are mobility, learning, cognitive disabilities, speech impairments and others, or even a combination of them, barriers? No way. Lack of accessibility is.
Welcome to Web Accessibility for All.
Follow the blind. This journey starts now.
Dad, can you tell me the story about how the dinosaurs disappeared?
Let's stay with that bedtime scene for a moment. The dad picks up a pencil. On paper he sketches a sky, a fiery streak, dinosaurs gazing up. In seconds, the picture tells the story. Then he tries again, only with words. It takes longer, sure, but the story still reaches his son. Now imagine if the story only existed as pictures. No words, no explanations. Some kids will follow right away, but others, kids who can't see well or who processes images differently, will be left out of the story completely. Hey my friend, welcome back to Web Accessibility for All. I am Ariel, accessibility consultant, front-end engineer, and your guide on this journey into how the web can include everyone. Today, we are beginning a brand new mini-series. We will be discussing charts, graphs, diagrams, maps. Yes, let's talk why visualizations matter, why they so often lock people out, how thinking like a storyteller can guide us towards inclusion, and how do we make sure the story behind our data reaches everyone.
What are visualizations really?
Stories in disguise.
At first glance, a chart or a map might look like just shapes, lines, and colors on a screen. But if you step back, each one is a storyteller in disguise. Think about it like this. A bar chart isn't just a rectangle. It's telling the story of growth and decline. It whispers.
Sales went up here, dipped there, then surged again.
A pie chart isn't just slices of color. It narrates the story of proportions, of how parts make up the whole. A diagram, maybe a flow chart, maybe a UML network, is like a story of relationships. Nodes are characters, connectors are the plot. And what about maps? That's a story of place and space. Streets are paths, markers are points of interest, and routes tells the journey. All these visualizations are attempts to communicate complex information quickly and clearly. They are picture books for grown-ups, just like the dad's drawing in our bedtime story. But here's the catch. Just like a bedtime story that only exists as pictures, a visualization doesn't automatically reach everyone. Blind users, low vision users, people with color vision deficiencies, and people with cognitive disabilities might not get the story at all, or might get it distorted.
Where the story breaks.
Accessibility challenges.
Let's return to our bedtime scene. The dad draws a dinosaur with meteors streaking across the sky, but suddenly...
Dad, Is the dinosaur floating in the air? Or is that the sun?
Right there. That confusion is exactly what happens when visualizations are inaccessible. The storyteller thought the picture was clear, but for some readers or users, it's ambiguous, overwhelming, or even misleading. Here are the main ways the story breaks in digital visualizations.
Blind and low vision users.
Charts and graphs as images without text alternatives. Diagrams with no semantic markup. Interactive hotspots that the screen reader can't reach.
Color-only communication.
Important distinctions relying solely on color. File slices, heat maps, or network links without patterns or labels.
Cognitive overload.
Too many data points crammed into a single visualization. Confusing legends, abbreviations, or unclear relationships. Users with dyslexia, ADHD, or cognitive disabilities struggle to parse the story.
Operability issues.
Tiny interactive elements, drag and drop only interactions. Users with motor disabilities can't explore or select points on a chart. Zoom or pan controls inaccessible for keyboard or switch device users.
Situational barriers.
Low contrast in bright sunlight or small screens. Glare, shaky devices, or split attention in multitasking. When these barriers exist, the story stops being universal. Some users can only access parts of it, or none at all. And this is not just about compliance checklists. It's about inclusion, making sure everyone can see, hear, or feel the story behind your data.
Why it matters.
Beyond compliance.
So why should we care? Why go through all the extra effort to make charts, graphs, and maps accessible? First, because accessibility isn't just about following the rules. It's about making your story reach everyone, whether they're blind, colorblind, have a cognitive disability, or even just struggling to see a tiny screen at sunlight. The W3C Web Accessibility Initiative says it clearly in their accessible charts techniques.
Charts and graphs should be perceivable, operable, and understandable for all users. This includes providing text alternatives, logical structure, and keyboard operability.
Accessibility legend Stephanie Mills, who has written extensively about accessible data visualizations, puts it like this.
A visualization that isn't accessible isn't really a visualization. It's a secret message only some people can read.
The W3C WCAG reinforce this idea. 1.1.1 non-text content provide text alternatives for all images and complex visuals. 1.3.1 Info and relationships preserve relationships in code, not just visually. 2.1.1 Keyboard ensure all interactive elements are operable without a mouse. Just like the dad narrating the dinosaur story, your visualizations need to make sense for every audience, not just those who can perceive every pixel.
Framing the big picture.
Why accessible visualizations matter.
We talked about what visualizations are, how they tell stories, and where those stories break. But now, let's zoom out and ask the big question. Why does accessible data visualization matter in the real world? Imagine these situations.
Business dashboards.
A team reviewing sales trends can't understand the chart because key distinctions rely on color alone. Did they miss an important trend? Could a decision be delayed or wrong?
Education.
Students in a classroom get a science diagram or a historical map. Some can access the chart. Who falls behind? Who feels excluded?
Healthcare apps.
A patient tracking their blood sugar sees a graph of trends. If the visualization isn't accessible, critical health decisions could be misunderstood or ignored.
City maps or transit apps.
A blind commuter tries to plan a route. Without text alternatives or structured directions, the map becomes a guessing game. Could they be late? Could they get lost?
Everyday apps and fitness trackers.
Progress bars, charts of sleep cycles, steps, or expenses. All are stories of our daily life. If someone can't access them, are they just left out of their own story? When visualizations are inaccessible, some people miss the story entirely. And when we think about accessibility as just a checklist, we miss the real impact. Delayed decisions, excluded learners, misinformed patients, frustrated users.
The good news?
Accessible visualizations are not about removing the picture. They're about making the story reach everyone, whether through text, narration, semantic structure, or interaction.
Dad, is everyone hearing the story?
Exactly, and that's the question every designer, developer, and data storyteller should ask.
Wrapping up.
Over the next episodes, we'll explore how to answer that question. Charts, the #1 accessibility challenge for developers, and how to make them understandable and operable. Graphs and diagrams, breaking down complex relationships, flows, and systems so they make sense for all. Maps and assistive navigation, helping everyone find their way, even in a complex, real-world environment. So, if you ever wondered how to make your dashboards, reports, or apps truly inclusive, this mini-series is for you. Because a story only matters if everyone can follow it. Thank you for joining me as we explore the big picture of accessible visualizations. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the rest of the mini-series. Remember, my friend, every chart, graph, or map is a story. Make sure yours reaches everyone. See you next time. Goodbye.
Thanks for joining us today. Subscribe for a new challenge next week. And don't be shy. Leave us a review or ask your accessibility questions online. See you next week for another episode of Web Accessibility for All.